Miss Jansa will go to Orlando this summer. Winnick Play has made it to regionals, which has just been really exciting to watch them. They, made it out of district to by-district area, and now they'll be at the regional competition next week on the 20th. That's in Lubbock at Texas Tech. UIL are the academic district champions, and they beat some big names there. And so we're really excited about that. Miss Evenden and then several teachers lead different UIL teams, but they were overall sweepstakes champions, and they will compete at the regional meet that same week of Winnick Play. That's in Lubbock as well. Tennis is competing right now. I was looking at the bracket here just a minute ago. It's live. No one's been knocked out yet. And so there's a few matches going on that started at 5:15, and so we'll get those results pretty soon. But we've got kids still swinging rackets at 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow for the second day of regional play there. Our band got ones at their sight reading competition. We also have a group, I think the Milkshakes, whatever the Milkshakes are called, going to DI Globals as well. Everything, I send out a weekly newsletter, the Wylie Weekly, and there's lots of stuff in there of what our kids are doing. I send that out to our teachers, and then they submit stuff back. I also wanted to report our gymnastics team came to me last week with their trophy. They got 3rd place at district. That's the first time, that we've had a gymnastics team or club, which is awesome. And they have some fun ideas for next year. They've been really easy to work with and are already kind of recruiting to get more kids to join their club. So you can see everything else that's coming up: district track, girls regional golf, regional academics. We now have a boy competing in regional golf. That changed over the weekend. Bell Showcase is on the 21st. The Choir Pops concert is on the 11th. 24-hour musical, which is chaos at its finest, and they get this magical production done in 24 hours. That is on the 13th. I don't have this on here, but senior trip, we're going back to Six Flags, is the following Friday. And then band concert's the 18th, and then graduation on the 26th. We're nearing the end.
And something that she didn't say, this will be the largest class we've ever graduated. I don't know whether we'll have 327 graduate or not, but
we've been at 285-ish the last couple of years.
Right, and so, that will continue to push us. As y'all have seen, the Taylor County Expo Center we're filling it up. So it'll be interesting the next few years. But, they're doing a great job with this senior bunch. So thank you, Reagan.
You're welcome. Yes. Oh, you're welcome.
Lots of stuff going on.
Growth and planning committee up there, Mr. Wylie?
Yes, sir. So we met with them last week, and Jackie did a great job. I really wanted to catch them up to where we left our last workshop meeting. So the last time that group met as a whole was in December. We then met in January with the board and the committee combined. There were about 10 members that could make that. And then we had another board workshop in February. So basically, Jackie reviewed with them everything we showed y'all in the first meeting. We wanted to be very transparent, and she used the same slideshow. And then we ended that, and then we said, okay, then when we went to the board workshop in February, we actually had some new information. If y'all will remember, we got the new enrollment numbers, we had some new finance numbers. So that was the first time they had seen that, and kind of shared with where we were as far as taking their recommendations and the new information, and really saying, hey, we feel like we right now our thought is to expand the high school to 2,500, to work on expanding the East Intermediate and building another elementary at some point in the future, expanding dressing facilities at the high school, also making security improvements across the district, making improvements in particular the west side campuses, And then also at the high school, the CTE improvements that we're gonna make. You know, in expanding the dressing room facilities, we also shared with them some of the thoughts that we had possibly about something on the north side of the field, doing something with that facility. And I think my take was that they felt good about the information we shared with them after we shared that. Now that, as you know, it takes a little bit to go through all that information. We tried not to be redundant with too much information, but I felt like Jackie did a good job of summarizing both of those meetings, and we gave them an opportunity to share anything different at that point, and I felt like they felt pretty good about where we were in the process. Jackie, I don't know if you have any other thoughts on how that went. Desiree, you were there too, so.
No, I thought it went great. I thought that it was good to get all the information out there and for them to hear it. And there were quite a few there. You know, we didn't know how many would show up, and there was a good amount of people there. So now I feel like there's more. We're all on the same page. Here we go. Now we can take the next steps of where we need to go.
Actually, I thought that was, I don't know for sure, I thought that was the biggest crowd at one time, and then they stayed. We had one or two that had to leave just a little bit early, but they stayed the full time, which it takes a little more than an hour to do all that. And so I felt like we just had a really good meeting. That was the first time that group met without Robert Gadbois there, so it was Jackie and me mainly doing that, and I felt like it went really well.
Was there any feedback that they had, any questions in particular they asked about kind of the current route we're going?
There was a little, some questions asked, but it was not really anything that was counter to where we went with that discussion. To say we have 100%, hey, this is exactly the way we ought to go, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I read body language, and there's some of the when there was a few questions made, there was probably a couple that might have liked to seen us go a different direction, but for the most part, I felt like the consensus was
Are there any
just what we.
specifics about what they're wanting, like as far as, you know?
That would have been different? Well, I think the 1-2 high school deal. I mean, I think that was.
I think you're more specific than that, like we wanna make sure that we get X in this package, you know, whether it's.
So I didn't really
think that
hear.
all of the, what we presented to y'all with those extra propositions to consider, those came straight from their surveys. So I feel like it
Like
was really
transportation.
fit.
Yeah,
talked
that
about
was
that.
in there,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we had that as a line item, for transportation, so, but we also told them.
Technology, security.
Yeah.
Yes, technology, security, but those are all things that, then this next step is really hashing out everything with the CMA and, taking that next step, and then what does that actually look like, the numbers and forming.
Did they feel like they really understood what our bottom restrictions?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, a matter of fact, when we went over the financial piece and we said, even if we went out for all 50 cents, now we, that we were fairly limited. Now, we also talked about the friendship example of, they were told the same thing when they went with the freshman campus, and then, they just couldn't get enough capacity to do more. And now, 13 years later, or however many years later now they do have capacity to do it, but it was mainly because of how their taxable values changed with the industrial and all that commercial properties that went into their district that followed the population, really. Population moved first, and then those other things came. So I really felt like now, I'm going to guess there's somebody that would say, no, that's not exactly how I feel, but they didn't express it at that meeting, and it seemed to be really positive.
So this is a really dumb question. this is the first time I've even been a part of it, so maybe y'all can help me too, but, and we're probably not there yet, but when it comes down to like the little things under these big tickets that we're discussing, so when you say technology, what exactly under technology are we gonna address? You know what I mean? Like, at what point are we gonna kind of figure out those little line items, you know, is it the
Well-
internet, is it more homework for the teachers, like what, when do we get to that point? It's kind of.
Well, I think that's where we start now. I mean, you know, as I'll talk to y'all just in a minute about the future construction and things like that, but, you know, really, as we start fleshing out the whole process of what a bond looks like, then that's when you start making those decisions. Now, the good thing is as we talk, in many board meetings and at that, Growth and Planning Committee, meetings, there was a good reason to postpone this to a November election versus a May election, because we will have time to do this, and you know, that's something we're working towards.
Okay.
I think it's been a good process. I think, has it been always easy? No, because you know, when you bring a group of 25 folks together and really different thoughts across the board, you know, and then try to bring it down and bring it into a funnel, let's synthesize something that we can do. Y'all actually saw that at the January board meeting, so, and I think where we went, everybody felt like that this thought process in that February workshop was right on target. Yeah, there were actually several of them said, well, that kind of answered our question from the get-go, and we had that, see what 50 cents looks like over however many years that would be.
I think it's gonna be good for the community as well. Gone through that process and know how difficult it is to make that decision and be on board with us.
I agree.
Are we planning on doing another workshop later on?
Well, I would guess that we'll need to do that. I'm gonna be gathering information as we move forward with getting everybody on board. So, yes.
All right, future construction project, Mr. Wylie.
Yes, sir. So, as at the last board meeting, we talked about moving forward with making some decisions on the construction delivery method, the architect and construction manager. We went out we posted those for 2 weeks. We got submittals. We worked through those, and we narrowed that down to 2 interviews in each area. Again, we are going to go with the construction manager agent as a delivery method. We determined CADCO would be the architect. Really, that's a lot based on their knowledge of the high school campus and the intermediate campus. And then the construction manager agent, due mainly to their experience in construction manager agent projects, is Gallagher, is who.
How many applied for, how many applications did you get?
We had 3 for each.
Gallagher's really good at the bond preparation.
That's part of what we determined as we discussed everything with them. We're actually, so I've talked
And
to.
when were the interviews? When were they?
Thursday.
And who all did it?
Mr. Vaughn, Mr. Bessent, and myself were in those. And by the way, everybody we talked to, they were quality people. So I was very pleased. Some folks that didn't make the interview were very, very good quality as well. So I'm excited to talk to both architect this morning and then construction manager this afternoon, and we will be meeting together, putting all our ideas together with the information we've gained from the the committee and from y'all as far as direction and start getting ready, doing some of those things you're talking about, Cameron. Now, I would say always, as we bring updates to y'all, you know, if it looks like something's slipping through the wickets, just say, hey, don't forget this item, and, or, you know, if we're looking at a bond, hey, what do we have to do? How do we have to break this out on a bond election, and what are some of our options? So I'll try to make sure I ask those questions prior to coming back to you, but,
I would just like to go ahead and find something and put it on the calendar, because I know I am, and I feel like several of
Busy.
us. Well, that, and I mean, I feel like there's some things that we're probably passionate about that we don't want to get missed. I think it would be helpful if we could get something on the calendar now with end of school and everything, so that we don't, August is gonna come really quick.
oh, it will, you're
So
right.
I just don't wanna, I don't want anything to fall.
So, and again, this is just thinking off the top of my head, so, you know, we'll have some new board members come June. So, I mean, just off the top of my head, it would make sense to make it
Oh, yeah.
after they come on board. So we'll work towards sometime in June. June is tough on y'all because y'all start planning on things, but I'll try to work on that as soon as possible.
The first budget plan. Also be in June.
That's right. Budget workshop.
You'll have your budget workshop prior to June.
It'll be for a long day, but I would rather, we all put aside board meeting days. I mean,
I usually take the day off.
I work our summers.
Oh, Stephen, you're not too worried about it.
That's probably.
Don't hear.
We could do it for a week.
Well, we can break it up, we could, do I don't know.
Well-
And then do it again the next time.
So are you thinking that, so if we have generally a 5:30 to 6:30 budget workshop, are you thinking 3, are you thinking,
Or 4:30.
Go out really quick. Maybe I'm just
They-
like way, like, I'm like,
Do
we trying to get
it
a
do it a
vote.
couple of times if we have to.
We have to call it in August though.
that's correct. Jackie?
It's presented in July.
Yeah.
You have a month
Yeah,
to
you-
consider.
Oh, that's right,
So
that's
you
right.
gotta
Do it in August.
Yeah.
So we're gonna.
Okay. Well, is 3 o'clock on the budget workshops okay, and, or you gonna have trouble?
No, I can make that, I'll make it work. 2 hours from dinner?
Well, that's 3 to 6:30, that's 3.5.
I thought we started at 5:30.
Well, I might roll right into the budget.
And do right.
You know, we might reverse that process, because the budget, especially early in the year, it doesn't take very long to kind of give y'all the big overarching, because there's a lot of things that are unknown. You know, that's the revenue is June.
Yeah, what about doing both? This is in July.
Well, there's let's see, that's a good question. There's a reason for that. So here's a couple of things. You know, June, we're just gonna come out of the legislative session. I feel strongly we are gonna even the revenue. I'm not real sure where we'll be at that first June meeting. And so generally you don't build expenditures until you build revenue.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at, you can spend that June time on the projects, what you're talking about there, and then provide some stuff in writing about what the revenue kind of initially looks like. Because you're right, if we went more than 30 minutes on that first one, it was unusual.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And then spend, maybe plan on 90 minutes in July if you needed it, but if not, didn't have to use it.
So why don't we set a 3 o'clock, and then we would see how that goes. I'll set up a tentative later date for a workshop in case we leave that meeting and we say, hey, we need to meet again. I'll try to have all players on board for that first workshop and work on conceptualizing some things. I'll have in May, I'll have an update as well. I may try to bring them together for y'all in May just to make a presentation of what we've got so far.
Yeah, please do.
And that way, when you get to the June workshop, you've got something to sink your teeth into.
What about the possibility of moving the June meeting up a week?
My finance people might shoot me. They struggle when you move it up a
Well, I
week.
understand.
Why don't we? Well, see. June 12th is the June
June 12th is
meeting.
the meeting, and as Jackie said, July 10th is the next one.
July 10th is the next one.
Something that you want.
Let's think about that, and as we come together, you can even shoot me an email or give me a call, whatever, and we'll, as we work towards developing something for May, then.
Elections. So you could do.
So we would canvass the elect, or can we
Well, I don't
canvass?
have- Yeah, we'll have to canvass after the 8th, we can't canvass on the 8th.
So there'll be another meeting, a canvassing meeting on the what? Oh, well, the 8th
It's
is
a
the
window,
board.
I have to wait till Taylor County tells me when they have the results, after their election board meets and certifies, then we canvass, and so she hasn't given me that date
It's
yet.
usually the last week.
But it's towards the,
Well,
it's middle to,
Well, and so there's several things gonna be happening, so, as we work towards that, we'll get information to you, so. Go in May too?
I think we better meet in May, and then meet after you're soon.
I don't
Because
know.
July is the, like, that's when you presume, so.
Okay, let me work,
Run some days.
let me start the process of gathering that team together and let's start work. And then I'll, if we need to start a little bit early on, the May board meeting. Yeah. One more meeting, Steve? How about 8 in the morning, Steve? That'd be fine with you.
Are we through with this?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Please.
Guys, it sure was nice to see all of you. I'm sure most of you spent your time on your phone.
Uh-oh.
I would have spent most of my time on the phone. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for this team being here, for giving up a little bit of your break here. God bless you all. We're going into executive session, so.
Thank y'all. Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
I hope the motion.
Y'all come back now.